There are whispers, faint as the sigh of forgotten aeons, that echo from the abyssal depths of cosmic truth. Tales of vistas so vast, so utterly sublime, that to glimpse them is to touch the very fabric of existence itself, to stand on the precipice where the mundane crumbles into the truly marvellous, and where the human mind, for a fleeting, terrifying moment, apprehends the divine. We often speak of Lovecraft in terms of nameless dread, of squamous horrors writhing in shadowed dimensions, of madness lurking just beyond the veil of our fragile reality. But what if, nestled amidst the Cyclopean ruins and the ghastly cults, there existed a narrative where the cosmic encounter, while still unsettling in its immensity, leaned not into abject terror, but into a profound, almost beatific wonder? What if the sublime, in its purest, most breathtaking form, was not merely a prelude to annihilation, but a doorway to an understanding that, while alien, was also strangely, terribly beautiful? Tonight we journey to such a place, to a tale often overshadowed by the tentacles and the gibbering blasphemies, a gem from Lovecraft's celebrated dream cycle that offers a different flavor of cosmicism, a narrative of ascent, of revelation, and of the profound, isolating wonder that awaits those brave, or perhaps foolish enough to seek out the strange high house in the mist. Our journey begins, as many Lovecraftian tales do, in the quaint yet curiously unsettling landscape of New England, specifically in the ancient fishing town of Kingsport. Imagine, if you will, this village as it might have appeared to a sensitive soul in the early 20th century, a place steeped in generations of maritime lore, its houses huddled against the encroaching sea, its narrow streets winding like ancient capillaries through the heart of a slumbering organism. The air would be thick with the tang of salt and fish, the cries of gulls, a constant mournful accompaniment to the rhythms of daily life. But even in this seemingly grounded reality, Kingsport possessed a peculiar reputation, a subtle current of the uncanny running beneath its placid surface, for it lay close to other, more infamous locales within Lovecraft's fictional Massachusetts, Arkham, Dunwich, Innsmouth, places where the veil between worlds was thin and where the echoes of ancient non-human entities often bled into the waking world. It is within this atmospheric crucible that our story truly takes root, for beyond the familiar rooftops and the comforting glow of human habitation, there loomed a geographical feature of undeniable, almost preternatural significance. A colossal, mist-wreathed cliff, rising sheer and forbidding from the very edge of the town, an ancient, scarred titan of stone that defied the easy passage of time and the casual gaze of the villagers. This cliff, known colloquially as the Great Pasture, was not merely a natural landmark. It was an enigma, a challenge, a silent, stony sentinel guarding a secret that whispered only to the wind and the restless waves. For as long as anyone in Kingsport could remember, the cliff had harboured an inexplicable presence at its very summit, a structure of singular peculiarity, the strange high house. No one could recall its construction. No record spoke of its initial inhabitants, and its very existence seemed to defy the logical progression of time. It simply was an archaic sentinel perched precariously on the precipice, its windows, if indeed it possessed any, lost behind the perpetual shroud of grey mist that clung to the cliff face like a spectral pall. The local folk, simple and superstitious as many of Lovecraft's rural characters, held a deep-seated apprehension towards this airy dwelling. Their folklore was rich with warnings, tales of those who had attempted to ascend the treacherous path, only to return broken in spirit, their eyes holding a distant, unfathomable terror, or more often to never return at all. They spoke of odd, unearthly lights seen flickering through the mist on moonless nights, of strange, resonant echoes carried on the wind, of an old man who occasionally descended into the town to purchase provisions, his visage ancient and remote, his eyes holding the wisdom of forgotten aeons, a wisdom that seemed too vast, too cosmic for any mere mortal. This old man, though a part of their collective consciousness, remained an outsider, an unknowable element in the otherwise predictable tapestry of Kingsport life, a living embodiment of the cliff's enduring mystery. Into this world, rich with unspoken dread and ancient wonder, steps our protagonist, Thomas Olney, a man whose very being is defined by an insatiable curiosity, a profound intellectual hunger that sets him apart from the contented ignorance of the masses. Olney is a philosopher, not merely in the academic sense of one who studies established thought, but in the truest, most ancient meaning of the word. A lover of wisdom, a seeker of truth, one who yearns to peel back the layers of mundane perception and confront the ultimate realities of existence. He hails from Boston, a city of intellectual rigor and urban sophistication, a stark contrast to the rustic simplicity of Kingsport. Yet, it is precisely this contrast that draws him, for Olney is weary of the superficialities of conventional thought, of the endless debates confined within human constructs. His soul aches for something more, something elemental, something that transcends the limited scope of human understanding. He has heard the whispers, the legends of the strange high house, and in those fragmented tales he senses an echo of the sublime, a potential doorway to truths that lie beyond the reach of textbooks and academic discourse. For Olney, the cliff and the house are not merely local curiosities, they are a challenge, an invitation, a symbol of the profound unknown that beckons to the adventurous intellect. He arrives in Kingsport not as a tourist seeking a picturesque getaway, but as a pilgrim on a quest for ultimate knowledge, driven by an almost spiritual need to pierce the veil of illusion and gaze upon reality in its unvarnished, terrifying, and potentially glorious form. The stage is set, the characters introduced, and now begins the arduous, transformative ascent. The path up the great pasture, Olney soon discovers, is no mere hiking trail. It is a primal, untamed climb, a vertical wilderness that tests not only physical endurance, but also the very limits of sanity. The lower slopes are relatively manageable, albeit steep and overgrown, but as Olney gains altitude, the nature of the climb changes dramatically. The path becomes narrower, more treacherous, often disappearing entirely beneath a tangle of gnarled ancient trees whose branches claw at the perpetually damp air like skeletal fingers. The mist, which from below appeared merely as a distant shroud, now envelops him entirely, a thick, suffocating blanket that blurs the boundaries of perception and distorts the familiar world into a spectral landscape. Sound is muffled, sight is limited, and the sense of isolation becomes profound, almost absolute. With every upward step, Olney leaves behind the mundane world, shedding the comforting anchors of civilization and venturing deeper into a realm defined by raw, elemental forces. The climb is a gradual, almost ritualistic detachment, a shedding of the self that prepares him for the encounter that awaits. He battles exhaustion, the biting wind, the clinging damp, but his philosophical resolve, his burning desire for truth, propels him onward. He is no longer simply walking, he is ascending, both physically and spiritually, towards a revelation. The higher he climbs, the more he feels the weight of ancient time, the vast indifference of the cosmos pressing in upon him. The air grows thin, not just in oxygen, but in the very fabric of conventional reality. Finally, after what feels like an eternity of strenuous effort and disorienting mist, Olney reaches the summit, and there, materializing like a phantom from the swirling grey, stands the strange high house. It is not what one might expect of a conventional dwelling. Lovecraft often imbues his architecture with a sense of alien geometry, of being wrong in a fundamental, unsettling way, and this house is no exception. Its lines are ancient, archaic, hinting at a design predating human understanding. It seems to have grown organically from the very rock, weathered by countless centuries of wind and mist, its stones imbued with a peculiar grey luminescence. There are no familiar windows or doors in the conventional sense, or at least none that Olney can immediately discern through the swirling vapour. It appears to exist in a state of perpetual twilight, half seen, half imagined, a structure both profoundly real and utterly ethereal. A single heavy oaken door, dark and studded with ancient iron, eventually reveals itself, seeming to materialize from the mist itself. It is a portal, not just into a house, but into a different order of reality, a threshold to the unearthly. Olney, despite the weariness in his limbs and the thrumming apprehension in his heart, feels an overwhelming compulsion to cross it, a philosopher's ultimate desire to confront the unknown, to look beyond the ordinary and into the extraordinary. He knocks, and the sound is absorbed by the mist, echoing strangely in the profound silence. The door, surprisingly, creaks open, revealing a glimpse of an interior cloaked in perpetual gloom. Stepping inside, Olney finds himself in a chamber that seems to defy the laws of space and time. It is at once ancient and timeless, sparse yet profoundly unsettling. The air within is still, heavy with the scent of forgotten spices and the faint, indescribable aroma of ozone, or something even more alien. And there, seated by a perpetually glowing though unfueled fireplace, is the old man from the villagers' tales. He is a figure of immense antiquity, his face a roadmap of countless ages, his eyes deep, luminous pools that seem to contain the wisdom of the cosmos, eyes that have gazed upon wonders and terrors beyond human comprehension. He is clad in garments of an unfamiliar weave, ancient and elegant, and his presence exudes an aura of profound serenity, yet also an unsettling detachment, as if his essence is only partially anchored to this physical plane. The old man bids Olney welcome, his voice a low, melodious cadence, rich with the echoes of forgotten tongues. There is no surprise in his tone, no curiosity, only a quiet, ancient understanding, as if Olney's arrival had been an expected event across aeons. The conversation that follows is not a typical human exchange. It is an exchange of concepts, of unspoken truths, of the very fabric of reality itself. The old man speaks not in direct answers, but in riddles of the universe, in allusions to cosmic vistas and to entities whose very names are unknown to mortal speech. He senses Olney's philosophical yearning, his profound dissatisfaction with the mundane, his desperate quest for ultimate truth. The old man, in his quiet, enigmatic way, offers Olney what he seeks, an experience that will transcend all earthly knowledge and all human perception. He invites Olney to step beyond the confines of the house, beyond the cliff, beyond the very world itself, to gaze upon the ocean of the sky. With a gesture that seems to defy the laws of physics, the old man leads Olney through a portal that opens not into another room, but into the infinite blackness of space. And here the true revelation begins, the moment for which Olney has unknowingly yearned his entire life. He finds himself standing, not on solid ground, but on a nebulous shore, a shore composed of shimmering starlight overlooking an infinite cosmic ocean. This is the ocean of the sky, a vast, breathtaking panorama where the conventional laws of space and time cease to hold meaning. Above and below, around and through, swirl nebulae of incandescent gas and dust, forming colossal, living tapestries of impossible colours, violets, emeralds, golds, and indigos that shimmer and shift with an ethereal life of their own. Galaxies, like luminous islands in an endless sea, drift majestically in the profound blackness, their spiral arms unfurling with the slow, deliberate grace of cosmic dancers. And within this stupendous, overwhelming vista, Olney beholds the great ones, the true denizens of this celestial ocean. These are not the malevolent, blasphemous horrors of Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos, though their scale is equally immense, equally humbling. Instead, they are beings of pure energy, of light and shadow, forms that defy earthly description, yet possess a grandeur, a sublime majesty that stirs something primal and awe-filled within Olney's soul. He sees them as colossal presences, perhaps star spirits, or cosmic intelligences, beings that drift through the nebulae with effortless grace, their silent movements orchestrating the very symphony of the universe. They are ancient beyond measure, their existence spanning untold aeons, and their awareness encompasses dimensions far beyond human comprehension. One particular figure, immense and benevolent, dominates this celestial panorama, a presence that radiates an ancient power, yet also a profound, understanding wisdom. This is Nodens, the Lord of the Great Abyss, a deity drawn from Celtic mythology and recontextualized within Lovecraft's dreamlands as an elder god, one of the more benevolent, or at least less directly malevolent, cosmic entities. Nodens appears here not in any defined form, but as an overwhelming presence, a benevolent guide amidst the cosmic chaos. His eyes reflected in the old man's holding the accumulated wisdom of all creation. He is a protector, a guide of dreams, one who can traverse the vastness between worlds, and in this context he is the silent host of the cosmic spectacle, the one who grants Olney this unparalleled vision. Olney gazes upon constellations forming and unforming, upon the birth and death of stars, upon the intricate dance of celestial mechanics, all unfolding with a terrifying, breathtaking beauty. He feels his own consciousness expand, his mind struggling to contain the sheer immensity of what he is witnessing. The experience is not one of horror, but of absolute wonder, of a profound spiritual ecstasy that elevates him beyond the confines of his human form, stripping away the limitations of earthly perception. He is no longer Thomas Olney, the philosopher from Boston. He is an infinitesimal speck of consciousness, privileged to gaze upon the raw, unfiltered truth of the cosmos, to commune with the divine in its most abstract and overwhelming form. He sees, he understands, he apprehends truths that cannot be articulated in any human language, concepts that defy all earthly logic. The vastness is not merely spatial, it is temporal, spiritual, existential. He is touching the divine, the sublime, the ineffable. This is the ultimate peak of his philosophical journey, the answer to his yearning, an experience that will forever alter the very core of his being. The return from this cosmic voyage is as disorienting as the journey itself. Olney finds himself back in the strange high house, the old man still seated by the hearth, a knowing smile playing on his ancient lips. The transition is jarring, a brutal re-entry into the smallness of the human world after traversing the boundless infinities. But Olney is irrevocably changed. The philosopher who climbed the great pasture is not the same man who descends it. His eyes now hold a peculiar, distant light, a reflection of the cosmic vistas he has witnessed. His mind, once so eager for debate and analysis, now struggles with the inadequacy of language to convey what he has experienced. How can one describe the ocean of the sky to those who have never seen beyond their earthly horizon? How can one articulate the forms of the great ones to those whose imaginations are confined to the mundane? The profound knowledge he has gained has, paradoxically, created an unbridgeable chasm between himself and the rest of humanity. He carries within him a secret too vast, too overwhelming for the common ear. His descent back into Kingsport is a walk through a dream. The mist which once obscured his path now seems a comforting veil, a gentle buffer between his altered reality and the uncomprehending world below. The villagers, upon seeing him, are struck by the change in his demeanour. They sense something different, something alien about him, a quality that is both awe-inspiring and slightly unnerving. His movements are slower, his gaze more distant, and when he attempts to speak of what he saw, his words falter, unable to encapsulate the immensity of his vision. He finds that the truths he discovered are incommunicable, not because he is unwilling to share, but because the human mind, unprepared for such vastness, cannot truly grasp them. He is isolated by his knowledge, a prophet without a congregation, a seer burdened by unspeakable beauty. He returns to Boston, but the bustling city, once a source of intellectual stimulation, now feels small, insignificant, its concerns trivial in the face of cosmic reality. He is forever marked by the strange high house, living a life suspended between two worlds, the mundane one he inhabits and the infinite sublime one he once briefly touched. His philosophical quest has been answered, but at the cost of his connection to ordinary human experience. This journey of Thomas Olney offers a unique lens through which to explore the multifaceted genius of H.P. Lovecraft. While his name is synonymous with cosmic horror, the strange high house in the mist stands as a powerful testament to his capacity for evoking pure, unadulterated wonder, the sublime in its most breathtaking form. Here, the vastness of the cosmos, so often a source of dread, becomes a canvas for beauty beyond human imagining. The terror that usually accompanies Lovecraft's cosmic encounters is replaced by a sense of awe, an almost spiritual elevation, albeit one that still leaves the protagonist profoundly isolated. This story doesn't terrify with monsters, it overwhelms with majesty. It reminds us that the sublime, by its very nature, pushes the boundaries of human comprehension, whether that push leads to madness or to a kind of beatific understanding. The common thread, however, remains: humanity's inherent smallness in the face of an indifferent, unfathomably vast universe. Let's delve deeper into these crucial themes. The theme of wonder is paramount. Lovecraft masterfully crafts an atmosphere of suspense and mystery leading up to Olney's revelation. But the revelation itself is not of squamous monstrosities, but of celestial grandeur. The ocean of the sky, with its nebulae and star spirits, evokes a sense of expansive beauty, an aesthetic that often gets overlooked in discussions of Lovecraft's more overtly horrific works. It speaks to a different kind of cosmicism, one where the universe is not just indifferent, but also breathtakingly, exquisitely beautiful in its indifference. It suggests that even in a universe devoid of human-centric meaning, there is an inherent, overwhelming majesty that can stir the soul. Coupled with wonder is the sublime. For centuries, philosophers and artists have grappled with the concept of the sublime, that which is so vast, so powerful, so immense, that it inspires both awe and a touch of terror, overwhelming the senses and dwarfing human capacity. Here, Lovecraft presents a prime example. The endlessness of space, the scale of the galaxies, the sheer antiquity of the great ones, these elements are truly sublime. They make Olney feel insignificant, yes, but not in a way that generates despair. Instead, it's an empowering insignificance, a realization that one is part of something infinitely larger and more magnificent than previously conceived. The terror aspect is not fear of personal harm, but the terror of the mind struggling to contain such overwhelming truth, the existential terror of understanding how truly small one is in the grand scheme, yet finding beauty in that very smallness. The idea of touching the divine is also central. In this story, the divine is not a benevolent anthropomorphic god, but the vast impersonal force of the cosmos itself, embodied by Nodens and the Great Ones. Nodens, as we've discussed, is a unique figure in the Lovecraftian pantheon. Unlike Cthulhu, Azathoth or Yog-Sothoth, who are often portrayed as destructive, chaotic, or utterly alien to human morality, Nodens is presented as a protector, a guide, a benign, or at least neutral, entity. He is the lord of the great abyss, but this abyss is one of dreams and cosmic vistas, not necessarily horror. His presence here allows Olney to experience the divine without suffering the usual Lovecraftian fate of madness or annihilation. He provides a controlled, albeit still overwhelming, exposure to ultimate reality. Olney isn't driven mad by fear, but by the sheer, incommunicable grandeur of what he has witnessed. This divine is an impersonal force, a grand cosmic order that exists independently of human belief or understanding, and to touch it is to be forever set apart. From a philosophical perspective, Olney's journey is an allegory for the eternal human quest for ultimate knowledge, for the answers to the deepest questions of existence. He represents the ideal philosopher, one who is willing to abandon conventional comforts and challenge established paradigms to seek truth at its source. His desire to look beyond the common sphere of vision is a metaphor for the intellectual's yearning to transcend superficiality and grasp fundamental reality. The story suggests that while such ultimate truths may exist, they might be inherently beyond human articulation or even full comprehension. The paradox is that the very act of gaining this profound knowledge isolates Olney, rendering him unable to communicate his discoveries. This raises questions about the limits of language, the nature of perception, and whether some truths are simply too vast for the human mind to process without fundamentally altering its connection to its own species. Olney becomes a living testament to the idea that some knowledge comes at a price, not of terror, but of profound, perhaps beautiful, loneliness. This tale is also a subtle exploration of humanity's place in the cosmos. While the focus is on wonder rather than horror, the underlying Lovecraftian truth remains. Humanity is insignificant, a fleeting blip in the vastness of space and time. Olney's experience emphasizes this, shrinking his former world to a trivial speck. Yet, it also suggests a potential for human consciousness to briefly transcend its limitations, to glimpse something truly immense. It's a humbling perspective, but one that imbues existence with a new, cosmic scale of meaning, even if that meaning is not centered on humanity. Finally, the nature of reality itself is challenged. The strange high house perched in the mist acts as a liminal space, a gateway between dimensions, a point where the mundane earth touches the infinite cosmos. The mist itself is more than just atmospheric weather. It's a veil, a buffer, a symbolic representation of the thin barrier between different planes of existence. The house and the old man, Nodens, exist outside conventional time and space, serving as anchors to this alternative reality. Lovecraft often plays with the idea of hidden dimensions and alternate realities, and here he presents one that, while still alien, offers a vision of profound, transformative beauty rather than pure terror. In terms of Lovecraft's style, The Strange High House in the Mist showcases his mastery of evocative prose, even when venturing beyond his usual horror tropes. The language is rich, archaic, and laden with adjectives that build a powerful sense of atmosphere and cosmic scale. Phrases like spectral pall, unearthly lights, and abyssal depths of cosmic truth are hallmarks of his writing. The pacing is deliberate, slowly building the sense of mystery and anticipation before unleashing the full force of the cosmic revelation. The narrative relies heavily on suggestion and implication, allowing the reader's imagination to fill in the truly unutterable details. This story is a prime example of Lovecraft's dream cycle works, which often feature more overtly fantastic elements and a greater emphasis on cosmic wonder and the exploration of dreamlike dimensions, contrasting with the more concrete earthbound horrors of stories like The Shadow over Innsmouth. While the horror is toned down, the profound sense of the uncanny and the unsettling vastness of the universe are still very much present, demonstrating that Lovecraft's cosmicism is not solely about fear, but about confronting the sheer, overwhelming truth of existence. The very architecture of the narrative mirrors the ascent, a gradual unveiling of deeper layers of reality. Connecting this to the broader Lovecraft mythos, Nodens' appearance solidifies his unique position. He is not aligned with the chaotic outer gods, nor is he a threat to humanity in the same way as the great old ones. Instead, he represents an older, more primordial force, a keeper of ancient knowledge, perhaps even a benevolent aspect of the cosmic order. His interaction with Olney underscores the idea that within the vast, indifferent cosmos there are different factions, different types of entities, and not all cosmic encounters lead to madness or destruction. This enriches the mythos, adding layers of complexity beyond simple good versus evil, or even simple horror versus non-horror. It expands the definition of cosmic to include the profoundly wondrous and the awe-inspiring, not just the terrifying. It shows that Lovecraft's universe, while often bleak, also contains moments of breathtaking alien glory for those few who are granted the vision. In conclusion, The Strange High House in the Mist stands as a poignant and often overlooked testament to the versatility of H.P. Lovecraft's vision. It is a narrative that, while bearing all the hallmarks of his distinctive style and cosmic philosophy, offers a profound exploration of wonder, the sublime and the potentially beatific experience of touching the divine. It challenges us to look beyond the immediate and the mundane, to confront the vastness of the universe not with abject terror, but with a sense of awe and a profound intellectual curiosity. Thomas Olney's journey up the great pasture and his subsequent vision of the ocean of the sky is a powerful metaphor for humanity's eternal quest for meaning in an indifferent cosmos, and the transformative, often isolating consequences of truly seeing beyond the veil. It reminds us that Lovecraft's legacy is not merely one of fear, but of an expansive, unsettling beauty, of vistas that stretch the imagination to its breaking point, and of truths so grand they can never truly be articulated, only felt. It's a story that lingers, leaving an echo of cosmic grandeur in its wake, an invitation to gaze upon the infinite and find not only dread, but also an overwhelming, profound sense of wonder. If you found yourself captivated by the ethereal beauty of the ocean of the sky and the profound philosophical implications of Olney's journey, do me a favor and like this video to help more Lovecraft fans discover these deeper facets of his work. And if you yearn for more tales from the eldritch realms, more explorations of the cosmic and the uncanny, then please subscribe for more Lovecraft videos and join our growing community of fellow seekers after forbidden knowledge. Until our next venture into the shadowed corners of reality, may your dreams be vast and your understanding of the cosmos ever expanding, but perhaps not so vast as to break the fragile confines of your earthly mind.